What the hell keeps starting this shit when I'm not here?
Sorry, just messing with you, Joe.
Somebody cut us off on the playback while I was talking to people.
Oh, that was me. My bad.
Yeah.
Get over to the post game.
No.
Well, now you can talk all you want on this show because it's all yours right now.
Who's on?
You.
Oh, am
And
I
me.
on? Hi.
And
how
Jared.
are you? Hello, everyone. We
What's
are.
cracking?
Well, my name is Ernie McCracken, so that's what's cracking.
Okay, Ernie.
Yeah.
Ernie McCracken.
By the way, in case you guys are confused, you've actually come to the Lakers Fast Break. I'm your host tonight. Sort of. Gerald's still here. I don't know why.
I won't be here for long, so go
And
ahead.
then
I'll
John.
be.
John apparently met some new friends
No.
who want to come on, and we're going to have to do a vetting system here. First question you ask this person or these persons is, how do you feel about the 2020 NBA champion?
Sounds good.
If they give you the wrong answer, then you definitely get them on.
Okay.
And we are going to put them on a spit.
I like
virtually.
that. I like that.
And we will rock
Oh,
them.
yeah. Oh, I like that, Gerald. I like that. Gerald, Joe, we're here.
Okay, do you guys want to talk about the game, or do we want to
Do
make
we have
jokes?
to? Well,
Yeah,
the game tonight was a
it's
joke.
part of the gig here, guys. Again, the Lakers came in tonight. I have to admit, I knew they were going to lose the game tonight, but I didn't know they were going to lose like this. So Lakers lost 134 to 93. And it's safe to say that they not only were checked out before the game, they actually left for the airport when there was no flight. That's how bad it was. Like, they
terrible.
left early, and then when they got to the airport, the people there are like, well, what are you doing here? They're like, well, we want to check out and leave. Well, there is no flight. That's how bad it was.
That was terrible.
And I don't know if there's a remedy for this at the moment. I'll break down a little bit of the game for you as much as I can. I was watching and enjoying a very good dinner. That was probably the most positive part of the activity I did. Although I did speak to a lot of my friends on the show, so that was also good. But yes, there was essentially a mental shutdown here tonight to where they didn't feel like they wanted to guard Tyler Hero, even though Tyler Hero has actually been playing pretty good lately. And Tyler Hero seems to feast on lazy defenses and lazy players like the Lakers are. And then you got a little bit of a positiveness in LeBron coming out the gate and making some shots, getting to the basket. But then it was quickly blanketed by one of the worst no-shows I've seen by Anthony Davis. If Anthony Davis was not going to do anything tonight, he might as well have just flown back to LA, because I don't think we're going to need him in Atlanta either. This is likely going to be a sweep, folks. I think they're going to lose in Atlanta as well. The question now is, will they come back home and beat Portland? That's going to be the question now. I don't know. I kind of had that as a win because they'd come back home to relax, whatever. But this is the second game in a row where they lost every quarter. Am I right on that, Gerald?
I believe you are.
Yeah. So this is 8 quarters where they've lost every quarter.
Lakers legacy. What's going on?
When you look into the details and who, what, where, and why, this is the situation. I don't know necessarily if there's a point in talking statistics, but I mean, LeBron had 29 points in 29 minutes. Now, he did achieve the minutes that I've been hoping he could get the last few years. Unfortunately, it was in a game like this. Then you had D'Angelo, who, Then you had Rui, Dalton, apparently when things kind of went bad, I guess his defense was bad. He didn't even get a chance to really play much. So other than that, I don't know. Reddish, 0 points in 15 minutes. Maxwell Lewis, 9 minutes, 0 points. Koloko, 13 minutes, 4 points. Yeah.
This was tough.
Oh, wait. Max Christie didn't have a bad game. He scored 11, though.
This was tough, Joe. This was tough.
Well,
This was tough, man. You know what? Sometimes I say good defense, better offense. Sometimes how I feel with Tyler Hero. But that wasn't even good defense. That was some of the most lazy, checked out basketball I've seen in a minute, y'all. In a minute. And I'm very, very disappointed. I don't have the chat pulled up here on here because I don't know why it's not pulling up. So I have it here on my phone. But anybody that said what's up to me in the chat, what's up, man? Lakers Legacy TV, appreciate you being locked in here, Lakers Corner. But look, you know what's crazy to me, guys? It's like I was watching a game when we were down, and I was like, all right, you would think that at least you're gonna have a little bit of hustle when you're down because you could get back into the game. Basketball's all about a game of runs, right? You would think when we were down in that like 20-9, you would have thought it was over. But basketball's a game of runs. You get back into it. But when you don't give effort, you can't get on a run. There was so many times they even it was so bad that they called it out on the broadcast. They called it out on the broadcast. They were like a 5-on-2 break. Nobody gets back. They're walking back on defense. I was like, Jesus Christ, y'all. Honestly, thank God Tyler Hero only played 26 minutes. Thank God Tyler Hero only played 26 minutes, man. Oh, this was a tough one, but happy to see everyone here.
So I talked a little bit about during playback. I talked a little bit about the ever overused cliche of adversity, but it's not really. I don't really consider it too much of a redundant cliche because that's actually how things. What the hell are you doing?
I didn't do anything. You're doing something, man.
Why does this thing keep turning into Gerald Glassford? I don't want to be Gerald Glassford. Jesus. I want to be me.
John C's just
What the
fine.
hell kind of Mickey Mouse operation is this?
It's you,
Mickey Mouse,
McCracken.
too.
Me. It's always me. I don't control this station.
I'm not even touching anything when you brown out like that.
Well, what do you want me to
Hell,
do?
this
I'm
was
not doing
terrible
anything. My internet is fine.
For once.
Yeah, your face for once.
Ernie.
Yeah, good. This said something worse too. Anyways, back to what I was saying before I was interrupted. I don't even remember what I was saying. What was I saying, John?
You were honestly you were about to start a great monologue, but I don't know, to be honest. You were gonna start a great monologue though.
Let's see here. What is this?
No.
What is he? French?
Ernie.
Come on, Serge. You don't know what that's from?
I don't. What I was gonna say, who's Ernie
Man,
McCracken?
I swear, man. Do you brothers ever watch anything that's not all brother themed? Seriously?
That's crazy.
What is wrong with you, man? Not everything is Rush Hour and Friday, man. Come on. Jesus Christ.
Oh, Joe! I love it.
I
Joe.
said it. I did say it.
Rodell says, Rodell's got a nice one for you, Joe. I just came on here. Wait a minute. Is Joe going at the role players again? If we're expecting the role players to save us, we might as well not show up for the rest of the games.
Come on,
I don't know.
man.
Did I discuss role players other than giving the stats?
You didn't. You didn't, Joe. I think they're putting words in your mouth again, Joe.
Well, Rodell's been doing that. Rodell's been doing that for what, 14 months? So I think we're used to him doing it.
Come on,
he might have came in late. He probably doesn't know what I was talking about, so I'll give him a break. Do you think everyone on the team except LeBron is like F this sheet? I think LeBron is the king of the F this sheet right now, too.
Man, for sure. That one possession when he turned it over, trying to do that cross-court pass.
Well, no, I'm not talking about tonight. He said that on draft night. He said that on draft night.
When
he said F this sheet. And by the way, I'm gonna say that because I think it's good for the censors and it sounds cool. So LeBron said F this sheet way before tonight's game. He said it way before the season started. So let's get that on record. This is why there was a lot of cursing and a lot of short videos that Gerald made where he advertised that. And there was a little bit of apprehensiveness at the time because I think sometimes, you go classless. It's a classless thing, sometimes when you curse and, it's not very good. But, the longer it goes, sometimes things age well, and it's aging very well right now. This adversity, that's what I was going to continue before I got cut off by the brownout. So the Lakers were fortunate to play certain teams without their main talent being available. But that's not something you can really fault anyone. It's you play who you can play, and it is what it is. Hell, the Celtics won a championship playing that way in the entire East run. It happens. It is what it is. You have to accept it. Now, where the tide changed, and this is after a 6-game winning streak in which they won 2 road games on back-to-back nights. Yeah, it's San Antonio and New Orleans, and then they ended up beating Utah at home. It's that Orlando loss. Everything started going downhill after that Orlando loss. They lost by a last-second shot, and that went ahead and started a 3-game losing streak where they got blown out by Denver and Phoenix. Then they kind of came back to a little bit of positiveness with San Antonio, beat them in San Antonio by 18, and then, of course, lost Oklahoma City in a close one, and then won a game that they should have lost against Utah. So this actually, the Lakers might have been 11-11. They should have been 11-11 after tonight if Will Hardy wasn't too quick to call a timeout on that game. So the Lakers are turning into exactly what they are based off their talent. And it's going to come here much, much sooner than we think. I thought maybe with their quick start, I thought maybe they'd get into it maybe until after the new year. It looks like they're probably going to get to 500 here very, very shortly and likely get under it here probably within the next week. And it's a depressing situation, but it's also something that if you're watching basketball and you know what it is, it's not going to be good. It's just not good. We talked about this on Playback, man. You're looking at half the team that actually would play good basketball in the G League. I'm even saying good basketball, not even great. There's really half the team don't belong on an NBA roster to play as regulars. They just don't. I don't see any value in Gabe Vincent. I don't see any value in Max Christie. I don't see any value in Christian Wood. I don't see any value in Cam Reddish. Dalton Connect is a rookie. He'll eventually get to a path, should he continue to work, where he will be a definite rotational player, maybe even an all-star, maybe a singular all-star appearance, something like that. And then, of course, D'Angelo Russell has deteriorated to the point where I don't even know if I even want him back after the end of the year, even if it means losing that number, even if it's losing that contract. I don't think it really matters anymore. At this point, it'd be better to just give hell, you guys, and I say you guys as in the Lakers organization, you've created 2 undrafted studs. Hey, just start doing that. Just start finding the undrafted guys and putting them in there, and they'll probably give you more heart. They'll probably give you more effort. And then at least you'll get something with some consistency, even though it won't be as good as the ceiling that D'Angelo's had. And then what's next? Do we pray and hope? Do we pray and hope?
All you can do is pray and hope.
That LeBron, for the first time in his life, does something for someone else. Does he do us a solid and retire at the end of the year, so that not only can we get rid of not LeBron, but get rid of this dead team? And then at this point, if AD is going to continue to play like this, you're going to have to sit him down and say, all right, well, looks like you're probably not very happy to be here. Where would you like to go? That's kind of where we're at right now.
Starting the rebuild. Okay, Joe.
Well,
See,
the rebuild might not be a rebuild, especially if you have
well, yeah,
Jeannie
started
Buss as the owner.
for sure. That's
There will
perfect
be
way.
players that'll come here because they will want to get paid, but I don't know how it's going to play out in the end with her in charge.
I
And of
know.
course, if she doesn't get rid of Pelinka, this team needs not only an overhaul on the roster, but they need a true leader. But the problem with Jeannie is she doesn't like to be told that she's a moron. That's why she only has Pelinka as her lackey.
Shield.
Yeah.
That's a good word for shield. Lackey? I've never heard of that word.
No.
Yeah, well, it's a good word. And
Yeah, it's you can say Rambus and his wife are lackeys too. They're going to tell her.
absolutely.
They're going to tell her nice things. They're never going to criticize her. This is something that Charles Barkley lost his friendship with Michael Jordan over. Barkley was quoted on, I think it was on Inside the NBA, where he's like, he's got too many yes men around him. And then Michael Jordan called him and cussed him out and said, "We're done."
All right, you guys are set up now. I'll be back in a little bit.
All right, Joe.
Argue and complain away, guys. Rant away.
The John and Ernie McCracken Show. Welcome in,
Yeah.
everybody.
Well, let's see. Let's see here. Gerald left a quote from JJ Redick. "I'm embarrassed. We're all embarrassed. It's not a game. I thought we had the right fight, the right professionalism. I own this, but need some ownership on the court as well." Yeah. I mean, you can talk all you want about JJ Redick, but at the same time, butter knives, man. He was given butter knives. He was given butter knives in a steakhouse. He's running a steakhouse with butter knives and a couple of sort of sharp steak knives.
A couple sort of ones. A
That's it.
couple ones with there's like maybe one that has like some potential. You know, like it's like damn, like if I get you right,
if you sharpen it a little bit, it's nice for a few days. That's Anthony Davis. But then you got to keep sharpening it every now and then when it gets dull.
and
And then you have the old reliable knife. You know that knife that's in your drawer for like 10 years that you always use when you have steak at home. It's kind of shitty, but you've always had it there. That's LeBron.
Okay.
It's reliable. It doesn't break. So yeah. This is an organizational disaster. It's everything. Anyone who came on board, because you can't sit there and not blame JJ Redick. And I'll tell you where I'm blaming JJ Redick. Why the hell did he take this job?
Wait. Can I say something, Joe, real quick?
Sure.
I want to say this because when JJ took this job, I said this. I was like, look, I think he's going to be a great coach in this league. Like, I don't think he's going to be a great coach first year because he hadn't coached like a third grade AAU team. I was like, but he understands X's and O's. He has good relationship with players. Like, I think this will correlate into him being a good coach. But the one thing I did say, Joe, was I was like, damn, but like of all the jobs, like you're going to take a job, your first head coaching job, not only just in the NBA, but period, on the Lakers with an aging LeBron James, man, he's going to have the insane eyeballs on him. So I'm sorry to cut you off, Joe, and I want you to pick up exactly
No.
where you
You
were.
didn't cut me off. Talk. This is your show too.
Look, I wanted to say that is one thing I thought. I was like, JJ, I like you as a person, man, but you are gonna get killed in this job. Like you're gonna get loved and then killed, because there's no way he was gonna be good the whole time. I knew he wasn't gonna be Darvin Ham, which is bad the whole time, but I knew he'd be loved on some nights, killed on other nights. And I just love what you said, Joe. You said, why the hell would you take this job? I think the same thing. Why the hell would you take a job on the Lakers with the aging LeBron James as your first head coaching job in the NBA? It's kind of setting yourself up for not for failure, but you're fighting an uphill battle.
The blame game is it's a draining game. I don't want to keep harping on things over and over again. I'll focus on tonight's game a little bit, and then I'll throw in a few hopeful resolutions here to keep people awake a little bit. There is a big crowd here. I actually was expecting people to be too depressed to be on the show, but thank you all for being here. I'm going to answer some more questions tonight than normal, just because I think the show will need it, and I don't want to go off. I don't like to rant for no reason, and this is not a game to rant, to be honest. Especially when it was kind of known what was going to happen. I didn't think they'd get blown out like this, but I had no inkling that they were going to be anything close to winning this game. I thought maybe they would be down 12-13 the whole game and lose. They got waxed. They were down by 41 at one point. I mean, they had absolutely no balls, no heart, no gallbladder, no appendix, no brainstem, nothing. They were useless. They played like cowards. They played like bitches. They played like everything negative they could think of in a professional setting. And that is the facts. There is no other way to look at it. If you're in a locker room and you say that to them and anybody gets up and starts bitching and whining, you just sit there and you just look at them. What are you gonna do? What can you do? You want me to play the tape? You don't have to lose like this. You don't have to lose like this, even if your talent sucks. Or maybe you guys should have thought twice when it mattered. And that's something that we'll be talking about this entire season, because in the end, this is not going to be a solution to this. Even if they go get Valanciunas or Vucevic, those guys will be temporary Band-Aids. This team cannot compete in any way without some kind of cohesion, some kind of dependability on talent, game in and game out. And there's just not enough here anymore. LeBron doesn't have enough in the tank to dominate in an 82-game season plus playoffs. He's done his time there. And Anthony Davis is just not him. He's not him for an 82-game season. He's never been. Never. Yeah. Even if he's played healthy, even if he's done well and made all NBA, he's never played one season like an MVP throughout game 1 to game 82. Not once.
One thing I will say, Joe, is Anthony Davis, his inconsistencies are glaring, but man, when he's on point, he's one of the best in the league. But if you can't be consistent with it, then what does it matter? But about look, the game, I feel like there isn't much to it. I'm gonna be honest with you. You could just simply look at the box score and see that Tyler Hero hit 9 threes and know how that went. But as far as just the effort is what I'm looking at, Joe. Just the way we took the loss. I'm not the one to over speculate on things that I don't know in full detail and full context. But what I will say is, I don't know if you've seen that clip and like the camera had panned to LeBron when he was like laughing and joking, and like I'm sure he wasn't laughing and joking about the game. I'm sure like he somebody wasn't like, oh look, we're down. I'm sure it might have been something funny, somebody like farted or something like that. I don't know, but I think, and here's where I'm at. Okay. And I'm not LeBron James. I have not played. I don't play a professional sport. But I did play basketball my whole life, and I would be very upset after any time we took a L. Anytime I lost, I was sick, like to the point where like I'm not talking to nobody. Like I'm just getting my shit, going home. I mean, do the talk to coach, sit there, do whatever, and then we going home. Now I'm not a professional athlete. LeBron James has the mental locked in, because I would go through it because I would be like sick. I'd be like, man, and until I play the next game, I'm hella upset. Professional athletes probably got it. They don't want to be upset all the time, so they probably are able to have a way to internalize it in different ways. Compartmentalize it, however you say that word.
Compartmentalize, yes.
There you go. That was terrible, but
it's okay. I English is a second language sometimes. Yeah. Creeps up on me sometimes, even with a college education.
So what I'll say is this: LeBron, I don't know what you're laughing about, bro, but it looks really fucking bad. Because what's there to laugh about? You just got popped by 41. You should be very upset. And not only just because Tyler Hero ran off for 9 threes, because you know what? The league is so good. Sometimes players run off for 9 threes. But really because the way you played ain't nothing to be happy about. So if somebody fart, I'm like, she smell like ass. I don't, she's not funny right now. It's Lebrover. That's funny.
Well, we can get into the LeBron bashing a little bit tonight, but I'm not. However, I did just get a message from my good friend Empire Jeff, and he had a very, very poignant X post that I'm going to read to you all because I think it's important that we continue to campaign. We are now campaigners, Laker fans. We have to campaign and we have to spread the word. So we have almost 2,000 subscribers on this show. Plus, we probably have thousands that still listen that don't subscribe, right? So for everyone who's watching this now live, for everyone who's watching this later, all over the country, especially those in LA, whatever. My guy just posted something to Magic Johnson's ex, and he said, and I'm quoting, "Magic, our brother in purple and gold, please pick up the phone, call or text your sister, that's Jeannie Buss, and give her the number to the Guggenheim Acquisition Department ASAP! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. It's time, my guy. Come home and bring the Guggenheim Fund with you." Now, for those of you who don't know, Magic Johnson is a figurehead and a minority owner of the Dodgers. So he's very, very close with the Guggenheims and the Castons and Gomi and Friedman and all those guys, right? Obviously, that's, Gomi and Friedman are not ownership. They're executives for the Dodgers, but they would have definite influence in terms of discussion with a possible acquisition or a full majority acquisition of the Lakers. Empire Jeff and I have talked about this. Jared and I have talked about this here. It is very important now that the pressure gets put on Jeannie because the Jeannie is way in over her head. It's starting to show. It's starting to get to a point where there needs to be a solution for the future. If Jeannie really cares about the Lakers and its future, she needs to come to grips with the fact that she cannot run this operation, and neither can her half brothers. Obviously, her full brothers can't either. We already got enough of that. It's time. And you already have a majority or a minority owner who is plentiful, who have the resources and have already shown for more than a decade that they can run a professional team. Please, Jeannie, I'll reiterate what Empire just said. It's time. Bring it back to the Guggenheims. It's time for the Guggenheims to take over the Lakers. When this will happen, not in the near future, unfortunately, but the longer this stale product is on the court, I believe, and as far as us being the vocal point of getting this thing into a different direction, I think at some point there will be a break, and we're hoping it's sooner rather than later. Jeremy, you can say she doesn't care. I don't know if she I don't think she. It's not that she doesn't care. It's that she's not.
She cares about her fucking money. That's all she cares about.
No,
that's all. No. That's what it
just,
is, Joe.
It's not just that. It's
part of that. Mainly part of that.
It's her father's team. She's close to the team. It's her It's her legacy. It's her whole life. However, there's got to be a point where she finally gets to a point where if you really care that much about this team, you need to give it up. You need to give it up for an adoption. You need to have it be adopted to better parents. That's it. That's it. There have been plenty of parents who were smart enough to understand that they were not in a position to lead, to raise, to take care of a child. Right now, it's not exactly somewhat, people are more important than a stupid franchise. But the point is, the analogy I'm using is what I'm trying to get at here is she is not capable. She doesn't have it financially. She doesn't have the business acumen to run a 2024 and beyond sports franchise in this particular climate.
Joe. Now let's talk about something because I agree with that so much so that I want to talk about like we're not in the organization, but every like contract has to get ran by her. You would say so? Would you say
What?
like any contract that they sign to somebody like it has to get ran by her, right? Like would you? I feel like that'd be fair to assess. We're not in their office, okay, right? So if every contract gets ran by her and she's, part of the financial decisions, I'm sure they got a whole team in there, but she's part of the whole financial decisions. Why in the fuck did we end up losing all these key and great role players who played an instrumental piece in us winning a championship? And a lot of them we lost just because we wasn't matching what they was getting in free agency. We wasn't trying to pay them. And if that's the case, if that's really what's going on, then to answer your question, what I think the biggest reason what's wrong with her is she want her money. One thing I've said, and I know you and Gerald said something about like some real estate or something like that, and I don't, maybe she does have some real estate. I'm sure she does. She has so much damn money. But the one thing I will say is, I know a lot of other like owners or front office around the league have so many other side businesses or ventures, or they got their money from a different from Steve Ballmer, bro, was the owner of freaking Microsoft, or like this was CEO of Microsoft. He's not tripping about spending money on a stadium, about going into the luxury tax, or the dude from Jacob Latham, the dude from the Warriors. Like he wasn't tripping about spending that kind of money, right? Because I could go into my own pockets. Jeannie don't want to go into her own pockets. And that's the problem because she want to keep her pockets full. It's a family business for her, which I get. But baby girl, if you ain't gonna run it right, if you just want to be good and sell that team. And yes, there you go, sports baby. And they draft Bronny for the money maker. They draft Bronny because LeBron got him like this. LeBron got him like this, telling him what to do.
And that was really the last sign of the inability of being able to run the team. Is she really the owner, or is it LeBron? It's LeBron.
Benjamin
They
Franklin.
they made ownership draft a player
Not ready player.
who's never going to be an NBA player. They gave him a guaranteed contract for 3 years. And then we have dipshits like Rich Paul telling us he would have been drafted anyways. Shut the fuck up. Seriously? Like we're already depressed about this, and then you try to insult a freaking deaf and blind guy's intelligence.
That's hilarious, actually.
Seriously, really? Like you went that route, and no one talked back. No one said, "Give me a damn break." And if anybody did say something, they did it behind his back. I wish I was in that room when I heard it. I really wish I could have teleported in there. I would have said, "Rich," and honest to God, I would have said it just like this. I would have said, "Rich, do you think I'm stupid?" Now, right away, he would have said yes, right? Because he wanted to be a wise ass. But I'd be like, no. For real. Do you think I'm fucking stupid? This guy would have got drafted.
Let's play this out. Come on. All right, ready? I'm Rich Paul.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Honestly, I think Bronny would have been drafted anyway, to be honest. He got picked up.
Huh. So, Rich, do you think I'm a moron?
I mean, yes, kind of.
You think I'm a moron, right?
Yeah.
You got money and fame.
I mean, I'm the money maker. I'm part of the LeBron camp.
You're part of the LeBron crew, and he's a billionaire and all that, right?
Yeah, you're an outsider.
Okay. So let me tell you that. Let me tell you the facts. Do you really believe that Bronny would have been drafted if it wasn't for his daddy?
Is Bron in the room? LeBron's in the room? Oh.
Doesn't matter. I don't give a shit if Braun is there. I don't care if his mom's there. I'm being honest here, guys. I would have done it just like this.
Straight up, Joe.
You really believe Rich Paul, without them watching or watching, come on.
No way.
No.
No way.
No. And I'm not a moron.
Just wasn't league ready, which is fine.
I'm not a moron in this subject. And by the way, I'm not a moron in any subject. If I don't know a subject, I don't talk. I'm not going to talk about knitting at a meeting. If there's a knitting convention going on and I walked into it and I'm like, oh, it's a knitting convention. I'm probably walking around going, what the hell am I doing here? People will be asking, we're looking for the terrace 1. I'm like, I don't know what terrace they're knitting at. I'm sorry. I have no clue what I'm doing here. Very quick to say I don't know most of the time because I don't know everything. But I do know this. I do know someone who is full of shit very quickly. And especially if it's in a subject that I know. So this is where we are. And what sucks is we're only 22 games in. We have to endure this for 60 more games. So the true talent is going to come out now, folks. How can we entertain you and entertain our minds into watching? It's not a dumpster fire. It's an airplane landing that's about to crash. Chris, Joe, what do you know about plumbing? I got a leak under my seat. I'll tell you what I know about plumbing. So, and again, gotta love YouTube for this. I've done so much with YouTube, right?
Yes.
So my garbage disposal didn't work this one time, and I thought I was gonna have to get a new one, right? So I went on YouTube. This was maybe 6 years ago. And I wrote, garbage disposal not turning, something like that. And I looked, and the guy said, all you got to do is get one of those big screwdrivers, get underneath, and screw it back on. It gets loose. And I have every kind of screwdriver you could think of, right? So I was like, oh, okay, fine. I get to use the 10-gauge, 2-foot screwdriver that I used only twice in my life. So, oh, cool, I can finally use that tool. That's what happens when you become a dad, a homeowner. You get excited about using a tool, right? So I went under there, tightened that thing up, and then the shit started working. So that's the extent of my plumbing. That's the extent of my plumbing.
Joe, I thought this was going to turn into some crazy-ass story.
No, that's the extent. And then it happened again a few years back, and then I did the same thing, and it worked. As far as plumbing, again, I do use plumbers in my business, especially if I need to draw gas lines for barbecues or fire pits. So I know a little bit about the trenching and how to make sure everything is permitted if that's what they want, and making sure you have good equipment there so that there's no leak and there's no explosions and things like that. Other than that, that's it, guys. I guess I could say I've unplugged a couple toilets in my time. I've installed a bidet.
Hey. Okay. Do you like those? I feel skeptical about those.
Oh, no. Bidet is one of the greatest, absolute greatest inventions man has ever had.
Wow.
And I had discussed it because my sister had one. I had discussed it before COVID for like 6 months earlier. I said, you know what? I think it's time to get a bidet. And then, of course, COVID hit, and then it expedited it. I ended up getting 3 of them and putting them in 3 of my bathrooms. So, hallelujah.
Wow. All right. Well. Anyway, okay, about the Lakers.
The Taliban took over the plane. That's a good one, Darren. You guys are getting some really good shit here tonight. Keep it up.
Joe, another I guess want to talk about here. Christian Coloco. I don't know how you guys feel about him, but I appreciate his effort. But brother, you're not getting the job done. He was getting abused, bro. Whether it was on a low block, whether it getting dunked on. Or no, sorry, not dunked on. That was Max that got dunked on. That was so fucking Well, but listen, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Max. That was bad. If I was on his team, I would have just had to put my face on the towel. But anyway, Koloko was getting worked, like low block, um, getting snagged rebounds off of him, like, and I appreciate the effort because Hayes is out. But damn, this is what we got. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be able to get as bad as Robert Sacre days, but I mean, just because we have LeBron and Anthony Davis, I just don't think it could go down that bad. But shoot, I hope not.
Yeah, it's not a. We're we're at a loss of words at this point. I don't know if
Hayes
there's
is
any.
better,
I
Serge,
don't
for
think
sure.
there's much. I don't think there's much to talk about. Koloko is not an NBA player either. Really, he's Wenyan Gabriel, maybe a little bit worse. And
He was pretty
and it's sad to say that everybody in the NBA right now, including the Max Christie's and the Gabe Vincents, are light years ahead of anybody that's playing street ball typically, right? Or people
Yes.
that are playing at the Y. That we know that. But when we get past that stuff and it's NBA talent versus NBA talent or lack thereof, it's your people are paying good money to watch this product. People are spending money on cable and satellites and also their time in watching this. So there is a right to say if this is not appropriate because we are spending time and we are spending our money on this, and we have the right to say, hey, look, Max Christie doesn't know how to play NBA basketball.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with me. I'm not playing basketball. You're playing, you've been paid more money than you should have probably gotten to play, and you haven't improved. You haven't lived up to your contract, not even a little bit. And that's just kind of how I feel on that.
Honestly, who said? Darren. I would say Colin Castleton's better than Koloko. I'm not gonna lie to you because he said he thinks Koloko's a little better than Castleton. I would go. I was super high on Castleton. I was really upset they let him go. I mean, I would have loved to see him put on a little bit of weight, but he was really a great modern big. He could pick and pop, pick and roll. Um, Hayes sucks. Hayes does suck, but he's better than Koloko, especially just at being physical and to be able to be with those bigs and solid little lob option. Sometimes we have that Hayes raw lob coming downhill.
Oh, Hayes
But
is better than any. So if we had a
he's
hierarchy
better
of
than
talent,
Koloko for sure.
oh,
For
for
sure.
sure.
For sure.
If
Yeah,
you look at
that's what I'm saying.
if you look at the roster as a whole, if you're looking at a 1-6, I think that's pretty much it. 1-6, you have LeBron and AD, you have Austin Reeves, you have Rui, you have D'Angelo, you have Dalton. That's 7. However, is Hayes more valuable than D'Lo so far this year?
No, I don't think. I don't
Really?
think so. I wouldn't say so. And here's
Have
my
you noticed
argument.
that they haven't been playing as well with him gone? Because now there's
Just
really
all in
no
AD.
big that's at least covering for him a little bit.
That's a great take, but I'm gonna go I'm gonna go with the basis of I just think D'Lo's been there a little bit more, and not even
I'm
just
talking
that.
about that. I'm talking about now. I'm talking about this year.
Yeah, exactly. This season, Hayes has been injured. Hayes just missed the last, like, he got injured, came back, got injured. But D'Lo, he has not been great for us, but he's been there. But he has had at least one good game. I think he had like that 20-point game the other day. And he provides value that it, a lot of games this season has not been there, but he provides the value of playmaking, right? To be honest with you. But there's times in these last couple before these last couple of games when he actually had the good game where he wasn't even bringing that, then which is what makes me question uh why I would take him over Hayes. But because of his shooting and his distributing when he does bring it. Um
Great question, Chris. How do we define the bronzesexuals?
That's just a LeBron hater hating on somebody that just asked.
No, I'm asking that there's a question. What is the so Beyonce has the beehive, right? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, I mean, what is the
They call her
bronzesexual?
Queen Bee,
Yeah, Lakers
right?
Legacy TV. Shout out,
Yeah.
like,
So
super chat.
what is a bronzesexual? I know what it is. I want to hear what you say.
You want to hear what I
I
say?
want to hear what you think it is.
I mean, I don't know, like somebody that can't say LeBron was wrong even when he was wrong. I guess.
I
Rich
think
Paul.
you can just say that they're fans of LeBron James, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just a fan, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what is a bronzesexual? I feel like that's just like a hater saying like you can't like somebody unless you're like on some shit where you're trying to like defend him.
I think the moral of the story is I think we idolize players, and idolizing LeBron James is always been a little quirky to me.
Anybody idolizing anybody's weird.
That it's easy to idolize someone like Magic. It's easy to idolize someone like Jordan. Kobe. I've never seen Kobe handle himself in terms of like reporter or walk into an arena or I never really seen him. I don't remember him being immature. Now there was a problem in 04, 03 when he was having his court case. That probably takes the cake, right? That kind of evens things out a little bit. But LeBron's issue with the way I look at him is he is infatuated with himself. And I think that's where the term bronzesexual comes from because it's a very feminine like infatuation with himself versus someone who really thinks highly of themselves, but not in a, I don't know, pussy ass way. I think that's the only term I can think of. LeBron, there's no denying. I've seen them all. I've never seen this much love for someone's self. Shaq was like pretty obnoxious
But
when I
hate
would
at the
watch
same
him.
time.
Huh?
But hate at the same time. But
Really?
hate at the same time. He's really loved, but he's also really hated.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's a difference between the hate for LeBron versus, let's say, the hate because someone's successful. There are
Explain.
those. There's always going to
Explain.
be those guys for anybody. It doesn't matter who it is.
Explain.
You still get a lot of people that for Magic, why do you care about what some guy with AIDS has? Like you'll still hear that. LeBron creates that problem and continues to amplify it the older he gets. It never goes away.
What problem?
The problem of him being the guy that wants to do things that make him happy versus anybody else. I don't get the impression that LeBron does anything other than make himself feel good and look better. You remember, I don't know if you remember this was a while back, you were pretty young. Did you ever hear a story about LeBron getting dunked on in a just, like that wasn't even an exhibition.
Yep.
It was
And
like
the ABCD camp.
right.
Yep.
And how he tried to confiscate
The footage.
all the
Yep.
footage.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing that the first time and I thought it was a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out it wasn't. So if I was to ask LeBron James a question, of course he'll never do an interview with me, and he'd probably never answer my questions. LeBron, I got a question for you. I'm gonna go deep back into the annals of your career. Why did you want that tape of getting dunked on?
No.
How's he gonna answer that question? Because it's
Yeah.
an open-ended question. I didn't say a yes or no question. And that I learned in broadcasting school, by the way, guys. You want to always ask a question that they don't just say yes or no. They have to explain it. What would he say?
He'd have been like, I want to grab it so I can get better.
Would he have the nutsack to say, I wanted to confiscate it because I was embarrassed? No.
Well, but hold on, Joe. Quick question. Let me ask you a quick question. Real quick.
But see, here's where I'm going with this. because it tails into what's going on now. There has been markers for a very long time, and there have been instances already in 3 stops with LeBron James that when he goes anywhere, right before he leaves, he drops the grenade, the napalm, the atom bomb,
sure.
and blows everything up behind it.
Oh.
This is why people don't, the majority of the people that actually pay attention and aren't just hating because he's successful, because there's plenty of those out there too. This is why people don't like LeBron James. And this is why I believe in the end, he had an amazing career, one of the greatest careers ever. But there's still stuff that he left behind that he shouldn't have been left. He shouldn't have left behind.
Well, I'll say this. Hold on. So what I think a lot of superstars do that though. Yes, I agree. You could look at every single team that he's left. Once you leave, it kind of it blows up. But I'm sure you could point
No,
out
no, no,
one
no,
or
no, 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 no. I'm not
one or
talking
two.
about.
No,
I'm
every
not talking
team I
about
know.
somebody retiring, and it's at the end of a run. That's different. I'm talking about
Just
he
going from team to
leaves.
team. Yes,
He
I know. I
leaves,
understand. I agree.
and yeah,
And
yeah.
that
Go ahead.
team, yes, right. I understand, but I think that happens, and you could tell me how you feel about that. But I feel like that happens to a lot of teams because at that when your star leaves, and especially a star that you were so highly invested in, when your star leaves, careful, baby, I got a baby girl right here. um, when your star leaves, that's who you were building your whole team around. That's who you were that's who you were building around. So now he's gone. Everyone else was a role player for that player. So now that team really isn't full and is gonna do a lot worse. Now, granted, there'll probably be 1 or 2 stars that transitionally great, probably most likely played on San Antonio. But in my opinion, when you look at most teams, right right when that star leaves, they are left in shambles. And just Rome, appreciate you commenting, but yeah, they look just fine now because it's been a long time. But remember how bad the Cavs were when LeBron had just left, or Miami actually was decent for a little bit because they had D Wade and Chris Bosh still, and they were able to still build around those guys. But essentially, what I'm trying to say here is when most superstars leave a team that was being built around them, the team crumbles. But hey, about the confiscation, because I wanted to say this. Um, and tell me if I'm if I'm being a bronze sexual by saying this, okay? Because I'm not trying to be a bronze sexual, but I'm just trying to think of a two-way street, right? Let's say he actually did confiscate that film. If I wasn't around when ABCD camps happened, but I know about ABCD camps. They were like basically like the Stephen Curry top 100 camp that they hold now. But what I will say is you are a kid when you go to ABCD camp. He's your high school kid. LeBron James at that point had the world on his back, right? He had the world on his back. He was that guy. He was supposed to be the next freaking LeBron. He's supposed to be the next Michael Jordan, better than him, go whatever, however you want to look at it, the chosen one, and he's still in high school. Now, as a grown man, I'm sure if he gets dunked on, it is what it is. It was what it was. When you're a high school kid, that could be kind of like, oh man, like I'm supposed to be this hella good guy. I don't want nobody to see me get dunked on. So maybe he did that, but maybe I'm being a bronze sexual and giving him the benefit of the doubt. But I would understand it if I was insecure as a high school kid. I'm a grown ass man now. I care less if I get dunked on. It's part of the game, gang. That means I'm playing good defense, or I'm trying to play good defense.
Well, I'll get back to that in a second. JY had a question about why do the Lakers have such low value role players? Well, let's look at that for a second, JY. Let's go down the list real quick. So the Lakers, before they traded for Westbrook, had Rajon Rondo, a veteran stalwart, right, who miraculously found a jump shot with the Lakers, who could play defense. He wasn't always consistent. He tended to go, get lost sometimes, but he always showed up when it mattered, which, and at that point in his career, you took what you could take, especially towards the end when they won the championship in 2020. But you had Rajon, and then you had Contavious Caldwell-Pope, who is one of the perfect essential role players on championship teams. Someone who can play defense and someone who can make timely shots. He would disappear with his jump shot sometimes, but that's why he's a role player. But when it mattered, he showed up. Then you had a unknown guy named Mr. Alex Caruso, who is the little engine that turned into a train and became a all NBA first team defender and was a timely shooter as well and understood team and chemistry. I mean, you're talking about three guys that are in your guard areas that can play defense and that are all nasty, one nastier than the other. So now you have attitude and you have players that play against those guys who are going to be a little bit more apprehensive in how they have to play. NBA is full of soft players. I always say the NBA is all the players that couldn't handle contact in football. So now let's drop back to the back. You have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Yeah, I don't need to explain that. Now you have those three in front, and then you have those two in the back. Now, LeBron did do a lot of front work. He won an assist title in 2020. But when Rajon was in there, he would usually kind of let Rajon control the ball, and he'd be the floater in that. That right there is high value at every situation. And what they did was they traded that. And even the guys that were guys like Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma was struggling with his shot when they were winning a championship, but he did make up a lot of ground on the defensive end. And Kyle Kuzma is a 6'10" long player. That's always going to cause problems, especially if you play some decent defense. You're going to have some good, results from that, especially when the team defense was so good. From that, they went from trading a lot of these players, draft picks, which didn't allow them to pick younger, more skilled players on top of that, or had a chance to. And then you had a bunch of old geezers getting signed up, and AARP'd the team in 2022 with a erratic, overrated Russell Westbrook. And we all saw what happened there. And then they were never able to recover. And they continued to make bad draft picks with JHS, bad drafted picks with Maxwell Lewis. They got lucky with Connect dropping to 17, and then they kind of shit on all of it evenly by wasting their time by drafting Junior and wasting really more time just not doing anything even in the summer when they could have gotten some free agents because they had botched the money and the cap so badly. Oh, and they also decided to give Max Christie an extension for doing I don't know what. I still don't know to this day why he got that contract. They didn't learn their lesson giving that contract or that kind of contract to Vanderbilt. Ever since Vanderbilt got that contract, all he's done is played with his testicles and his butthole and walked around like he's hurt all day. That's all he's done. His fault or not, I don't care. When you're not available, you're useless. You're absolutely useless. And that's what
Joe,
he is.
You know what's a saying I like to go by? You know what's your best ability?
Availability.
Gosh, damn right, Joe.
Yeah.
What do I tell you, Joe? Who do I want to be like when I'm older?
You want to be like Gerald Glassford.
Oh, yeah. I like Gerald. He's cool.
I don't.
He's my dog. What? I'm not gonna. I can't let that slide, man. Gerald's great.
Nah.
Okay, but look, I'm not even gonna get to talking about 2020 because I could ramble on about that forever and how we screwed that up and let that greatness go and literally are dumb to not see what the roster construction is supposed to be and for whatever reason go the complete opposite direction. But that's neither here or there. Joe, there's not really much else to talk about on this game. Season wise, we'll be lucky if we make the play-in.
We're not. I had him picked 11th.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
they're
about
not going
that.
to make it. They're not going to make it.
I'm
I
holding
did
out
think
hope.
that they would run on a slide like this if AD or LeBron got hurt. Instead, it started with Reeves getting injured and Hayes getting injured because their depth absolutely went to crap. The little depth that they had with the shit. If you have to play Max Christie more or Gabe Vincent, you're going to be in major trouble.
Facts.
That's just not good. Even if Austin was struggling shooting or scoring, whatever, he still plays a good team ball, and that goes a long way. The stuff that's not on stat sheets. So you take him out of the equation, and then you have Jackson Hayes, who this is where JJ Redick played this pretty well by having them play together. This is where I kind of knew he knew what he was doing a little bit. They played well together, and then on top of that, he was supplanting AD a little bit and giving him some rest as a backup. When you took that out, now you have to go with Koloko. You have to go with, even Christian Wood's not available. You have to go with playing LeBron at the 5 sometimes, and that's just not going to happen. That's just not going to work.
Come
Well,
on,
look
man.
who decided the show.
The
Look what the cat
Gerald
tracked in.
Glassford, man.
What's up?
I'm a classic man. You could be me when you look this clean. I'm a classic man. Hey.
Trying to keep everybody's spirits up on a day where the Lakers absolutely sucked. Man, it's just, and then of course the excuses are flying around. JJ's reevaluating everything with the coaching staff. Blah 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 blah. Again, I'm not going to put too much on JJ. I'm not been as high as maybe Joe has, but I'm not been saying he's terrible because again he's a rookie coach. He's going to take his lumps. We've seen he's been out coached on more than one occasion, but right now with the talent that he has around him, I don't know what magic he can work up. Joe talked about 11th for him as far as this is right where he predicted. For me, I predicted them 9th. I'm barely above 500. That's where exactly they're at. They're barely above 500. So we are seeing exactly what we predicted for many of us here on the show. The 7th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th place people. Jamie predicted 10th place for, I believe, for the Lakers as well. So yeah, just got to remember, we don't want the Lakers to be bad, but we could see this happening, guys. We could see how bad this was going to get. And this is what you want, Jeannie? Let's keep on going with this. But if you really want to make a better future for the Lakers, I think, you got to do what Joe and John have been talking about now for the past hour now, and that is sell the team. Sell the team to the Guggenheims. Do the right thing.
Crazy.
Get rid of Rob. Put a new future in there. Trade AD. Trade LeBron. Start fresh, and let's go from there.
You know what's crazy, guys? I'm about to do my game recap, so I'm looking at the box score real quick.
You got it, Ace.
And and I'm seeing that Anthony Davis took 14 shots. D'Angelo Russell took 13. Damn, that's my dog just said fuck it. I'm just not trying to hoop tonight. Basically what he said. It's crazy. I'm about to do this game recap though, guys. So I'll be right back, Gerald.
Well, I'm going to go prepare for the nightcap. So, Gerald, you take over the show here. We have a good crowd tonight. I'm going to get I'm going to get some more wine. So I think it's fitting that I get more wine while we wine.
All right, we'll start the nightcap at 8. Can we start the nightcap at 8?
Come follow me on Lakers Corner and the Clutch Talk, guys. Appreciate the support. All right, Ernie McCracken.
Ernie McCracken.
Suck it, John.
Hey, you suck it. Ernie McCracken. Anyway, hey, everyone that's in here, appreciate you guys being in here. Appreciate all you guys showing love, supporting. If you want to check out me and all my work that you could find me at, please do find me on YouTube at Lakers Corner, where it's I'm in the corner. We're talking about Lakers. We talk all about exclusive Lakers news, and I do game recaps, which is what I'm about to go record right now. Post it on there. Also have Clutch Talk, as you can see right here, YouTube channel, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Come follow me, guys. That's an NBA talk show, bringing all about the NBA, because not everybody likes just the Lakers, which surprisingly, I don't know how it's the case, but it is.
You got it, my friend. No worries. It is John Costa, Clutch Talking Lakers Corner. Thank you again, my friend. Hopefully we'll see you on the Nightcap, but let's go ahead and get you on out so you can go ahead and do your recap as well for your great channels. So once again, it is John Costa, Clutch Talking Lakers Corner. Please go ahead and catch him there. Lakers Corner, Clutch Talk. But is the Lakers again losing by 41, getting humiliated? It wasn't even an NBA Cup game, so I think it just speaks volumes right now. And I know the fan base is really down after losing by 29 on one day and 41. So that's 70 points in 2 days or 2 games, essentially. Jeremy says finally LeBron shot a 3. Well, he finally made a 3, but he's 1 for 27. It's disappointing. It's very disappointing. JSJ, yeah, everyone's leaving me, but just for a second, because Joe will be right here with the Nightcap coming up for you guys as well. Jeremy says, Jerry, in the meantime, do you predict a sweep of losses in Atlanta and Portland? It's not the Portland game. I think they played better against Portland, especially a team that's trying to tank. Atlanta, I said 2-2. So if they're going to win, they're going to win in Atlanta. Maybe they'll show some heart because they didn't show it here tonight. They got beat down. And you knew it was kind of trouble when Jimmy Butler and Kevin Love, they all said that the reports were having them come back and be healthy for today's game. It's like, conveniently right in time for the Lakers. But, Lakers have had some things happen in their favor earlier this season. Now, not so much, but, that's still no excuse to get beat by 41. Jeremy, the problem is, Jerry, that these aren't just losses. Yes, well, there's many problems, Jeremy. There's still losses. No matter if they lose by 41 or they lose by 1, there's still losses. And the fact is that we're still in a bad way right now for the team at 12-10 right now, 12-10, barely above 500. This is exactly where I had predicted the Lakers to be. And I don't want to be right in this situation. I don't want to be 100% correct. Joe and Stone, when they say that the Lakers are going to end up being 11th, they don't want to be right. They want the Lakers to win just as much as you guys out there. But when it comes right down to it, you guys are looking for answers quite often in the wrong places. And you're saying, oh, well, let's do this little trade for this guy, Jeremy Grant, Nikola Vucevic, or some other trade, Kuzma or something like that, something that won't move the needle far enough. We're talking a major overhaul might be needed to get the Lakers out of this purgatory. And I know Joe and I see differently on this purgatory deal, but the Lakers are right in this purgatory where they don't have any chance of winning a championship, but they don't have a chance of tanking either. And I think they need to go ahead and reevaluate themselves as an organization because this is what they got. And JJ, again, I haven't been overly impressed with him, but I have, it is what it is. Ham was doing a terrible job last year. So JJ is going to get a little bit of maybe a little bit of break here because he is a rookie coach, but we'll see what happens. Again, Serge doing the fantastic job that he is. Big shout out to him. Jeremy, once again, hopefully you are feeling better, my friend. Jerry, do you think there is a problem in the locker room? I mean, we lost this game in the first quarter. Oh, there's already a problem in the locker room. When you lose by 70 points, there's always a problem in the locker room. It's just, do they want to start the finger pointing? They started the finger pointing with Ham, which is part of the reason why Ham was out of there. But yeah, there's probably some issues with whether the way they're being coached or the way they're interacting with each other. You saw the offense tonight. It really looked lackluster. It looked like LeBron versus the world because LeBron was trying to prove a point that he wasn't as old as we've been saying he is in the past couple of days. I know what he was trying to do. Again, he was trying to make it all about him and trying to carry the team to another victory, and it wasn't even close. AD did not show up tonight. This is a guy, 3 of 14 tonight, absolutely terrible. This is the guy that was picked. Still, even to this day, I hear some shows that have been coming on the air, and they still have him in their top 5, top 10 of the MVP ranking. After this performance in the past 2 weeks, from what we've seen, Anthony Davis should no longer be considered a top 10 MVP candidate because the Lakers are just on a downslide, and he's been on a downslide with it. And Rui got you 14 points tonight, 6 of 7, but is that the best he's going to be able to give you? LeBron, again, 29 points, 8 assists, only 1 of 4 from 3. So he finally made a 3-pointer, but he's 1 of 27-ish for 3. So how good has that been? Again, D'Angelo Russell, 12 points tonight, 1 of 4 from 3. Really didn't give you much after just early on. Gave you a little bit, but unfortunately it wasn't enough, and he didn't stick to it. Dalton has given you nothing in the past 3 games, virtually nothing. And part of it has been him. Let's go ahead, put it where it lies. Part of it also has been the offense that I've seen. He gets no touches. How can you play 23 minutes, JJ giving you the lip service that he's going to do all this run plays for Dalton, blah, 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 and only get him 4 shots in 23 minutes? And you wonder why he only scores 2 points. So, yeah. Did I see what Magic Johnson posted on this game? Yeah, I did. And he's got a right to be upset, but he's also got, as Joe said, the lifeline to the Guggenheims. Maybe we could go ahead and, as Joe said, and Empire Jeff for wanting to push, we could get them in a better position going forward. So with a new ownership in place, but we had said before that the Lakers have had under Jeannie more losing seasons than winning seasons. It's now kind of almost even now at this point, but still, we got the 1 championship with her. She should be grateful for that. But now this team is too old in certain spots and has been too reliant on LeBron and AD for quite some time, way too long. And we're seeing the fallout from it. Would I have done the AD trade? 10 times out of 10, because you did get the world championship. And unfortunately, when you get the world championship, you got to go ahead and take the steps necessary to win it again. And the Lakers, unfortunately, do have a GM in place that just is not able to go ahead and make the right moves needed in order for the Lakers to reach that next step once again. JJ needs blame. Dalton getting 0 touches, can't find a rhythm. Well, again, when you're like this, Jeremy, it's a natural human reaction to go ahead and finger point. And even us, we're doing a lot of finger pointing ourselves. But this has to be a whole organizational problem. This has to be a whole organizational issue that will solve, and hopefully they can solve it right away. So Joe is getting set for the nightcap. We'll go ahead and hit it up for you. Once again, thanks so much again for watching and listening with us. We're here with you. We're here for the long haul. It is the Lakers fast break. Once again, the Lakers lose 134-93. They'll be on in 2 days with the game against Atlanta. We will be back, though, tomorrow as far as the Lakers fast break podcast with another great episode. But for now, it's the nightcap with Joe Soro coming up right now.
Spilled.
Give him the intro right there. Talk smack about me on the intro at the beginning. Talk smack about me, how I cut off people on playback after the game's over. Drops the beer, and he drops the bottle. All right. It is the nightcap, though, with Joe Soro.
Is wine considered a nightcap? I always thought the nightcap was like a good whiskey, or I should say a scotch. Salud. Another depressing evening of Laker basketball. More Merlot for the night.
Jeremy, I hope you're feeling better. I know you've been still battling a bout of COVID, so I'm hoping you're on the mend, and I hope you feel better. By the amount of the messages I've seen and the amount of comments that you made during playback and on for tonight's post game, maybe you're feeling better. So I'm glad to hear, or glad to hope that that's going to be the case. What's up, Rough Artist? Truly appreciate everyone being here while Joe is cleaning up his mess. Again, it's the nightcap. The Lakers do lose by 41. Is that the Merlot again that you got?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I have others. I'll probably change it up here soon
Fair
enough.
Reminder, we are going to have another show tomorrow. We'll see how it lays out, whether it's a snack pack or an NBA observations. But Ernie McCracken, What
Do
is
you
this?
want me to crack
Henri?
the Kraken? Yeah. So
Henri?
have we had anybody show up late here
What?
to rehash probably the worst game of the year, I would say.
It's yeah. Well, when you've got several contenders for it already, Joe, that's a problem.
So the question I have is, did they party last night?
South Beach flu.
What are the chances these guys actually stayed in the in the hotel room? Zero.
Oh, but
right?
they just stay. They just stay in the hotel room and play PlayStation.
LeBron does that, right? Because he can't go anywhere.
And so does Bronny. Call of Duty.
Mm. Right.
God forbid you would want him to go ahead on the road with the South Bay G Leaguers and get more time and develop him.
He
God
knows
forbid.
See, here's the beauty of this. LeBron deep down knows his son is an NBA player, and I believe that without a shadow of a doubt that Bronny knows he's not an NBA player. So what they're doing is they're milking the Lakers, and the Lakers are sitting there thinking, oh, we're going to sell more jerseys because now they've officially turned into Artie Moreno.
He can go wherever he wants, Jeremy. If he wanted to go ahead, walk out of the beach, I'm sure as long as it's not during a workout.
Artie Moreno is what Jeannie is. I wonder how she'd feel if somebody told her that.
Artie can to go around to the parties and say he's got that one World Series. Oh, no, that was the Disney World Series. That was Disney owned at that time. Yeah. Or she at least could go around the parties and say she got the one title.
Oh, great. So what do we do now for the next 30 years, though?
Suffer.
So we're going to be the next New York Knicks?
We're going to see Boston start to go in the distance, and they're going to laugh at us even more, which is going to be a bigger problem.
Yeah, that's the other issue. But I do feel like Boston's selling the team is going to probably go to someone who's, I don't know, is it going to be a richer company? Are they going to care about winning? Like this ownership? I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, he's selling at the right. You know what? It is the Celtics, but that owner is going out at the right time. It's being very smart. I mean, just the contracts are going to get higher and all that. So yeah, he's obviously making a smart move. He says, "I want my championship. Why do I need to stay? Just the tax bill is going to get a lot larger."
Aren't these guys already billionaires, though? Does it really matter?
Yeah, we'll see. That bill is going to get pretty hefty if they keep all those guys, Joe.
How hefty? Like another 100 million?
More than that.
What, 200 million?
More than that.
And then somebody buys this team is going to be willing to pay that.
It was getting into what, 400 or 500 million for Golden State in those years, and as far as their taxes, I believe it's somewhere. I don't know the numbers anymore, but the tax bills they were paying were mighty huge. So I would say that now under the new CBA, it's even more aggressive on the bills. Plus, remember, you get to for them, it's not going to be a big deal because they've got a great record anyways. But they're going to be put back a team in the second tax apron. They go to the back of the line on the draft picks, and then if they stay in that second tax apron, they'll start to get their draft picks taken away. The longer they stay.
Really? Ooh. And who signed this deal?
Pardon?
And the NBA and the PA signed on this deal without negotiating.
That's what they negotiate. It's in the CBA. I brought it up the other night. I showed it to you guys out there. I popped up on the screen. So what the penalties are.
I'm hoping I can find some time.
Yeah, Jeremy, you're right. It was over 500 mil.
There's a guy named Larry Kuhn. You ever heard of him?
Yeah, he's the specialist on the.
He's the specialist in that. I would love to sit down with him and really get an idea of the layman's terms of this deal. We know.
I'll try to bring him on.
We know most of it. We'll get Larry Kuhn on. I know he's been on my old stomping ground that turned into a hot pilot dump form at Lakers ground. I think he's still there. He still kind of comes in every now and then. I'd love to see if he can come on the Lakers ball.
Which is just like the Lakers situation, Bloodhound. They don't own the TD Garden. The Lakers don't own the Crypt, so they don't generate the same kind of revenue like the Warriors did because they own the Chase Center.
And it was understood in 2000 how that played out. It is a family business. It is. They were always going to be limited. But what they did have was they had a time where they can do that.
Mhm.
What family business at this point, other than in the NFL, does operations work? I don't know any. The reason why the NFL works, the Rooneys and the Ursays and the Hunts, they make so much. They make their primary money from football, and it's enough for them to do what they need to do. They've socialized it so much; everything's evened out at that point. And I think that's what everyone always. That's what everyone wants. And I'm telling you right now, the NFL is different than any sports league. It's different. You cannot find that kind of talent in the other sports. The other sports are much more limited. So imagine this. So basketball, more than anything, is very limited in terms of getting stars. No matter what, it's very, very difficult to get those stars. A lot of them end up flaming out, even if they're a top 3 pick. And as far as baseball is concerned, and this is why there's some talk right now about some golden rule where they can have like if there's a spot in the lineup where you can move your star player there in important moments, which is a horrible idea, by the way. Please God, Manfred, go away with that stuff. Take it away. Player association, don't even get close to doing something. I still can't stand the second base thing during the regular season. That irritates the hell out of me because I always think that that's the advantage of the road team. They score first, pressure's on the home team to score. I don't like that. Should be the other way around. If anybody's going to get that guy on second, they should have it for the home team so they have the advantage. But anyways, I digress. The much like the talent evaluation thing, if you want this to work, you're going to have players that are more ready to come in. Are they willing to let these players develop more? No. They're still doing the 19-year-old thing, right?
Yep.
Which doesn't make any sense. Does that work for international players too?
As far as what?
Like, do you have to be 19 to get into the draft?
Yeah, you have to be a certain age in order to. Yeah, because it's one and done deal. Again, either do 2 or do nothing. In my opinion, one and done doesn't serve any purpose. So it's at this point, I believe you do have to be like 19 if you're just like you're playing for a European Pro League or whatnot. So.
Excuse me. Wow.
Or no, 18. You have to be 18. Just so that you know. Yeah, 18. Sorry. I mean, some kids, even in the one and dones, Joe, are 18 still.
So what is this for? Is it 19 or is it 18?
It's 18. It's either one and done or at least a 18, and as far as for Europeans.
Okay. We're gonna go back to some questioning before you got back on the show. Is there any chance LeBron retires at the end of the year if the Lakers don't make the playoffs?
He has periods in the past few years that with the Lakers that it gets like this where it gets miserable. He goes into a slump or whatnot. I'm going to say no. He's got that money left on the table. I still think he's going to do a 1-1. I still think he's going to do a 1-1 and take the full 50 million. And again, hurt the Lakers salary cap because we don't learn our lesson as an organization. So we're just going to do the same thing over and over. He has full control of the situation, and if that's the case, and there were some people that aren't apologizing for him, that they support him taking every single dollar, that getting his nepotism son in there on the team, they support that to the hilt.
You know how you know someone
and
is full.
That to me is sad. That to me is sad.
You know how you can spot the what's a word I'm looking for? It's not a bum, but you could here. You know how you can always spot the enablers in life is when they come back with an argument of, well, so and so did it. So there's been a lot of talk about nepotism with this LeBron thing. And for the life of me, I don't understand how it pertains to playing sports when talent is so limited on the planet. There's only a few people that can play NBA basketball on this planet. This has nothing to do with nepotism. You're not hiring your son, your daughter, your cousin, your uncle, your aunt, your grandma to be the secretary at your tire business. Any schmuck can do that job. Very few people can do what LeBron does and people that play in the NBA. It's a gigantic difference. And I know that the IQ of people who use that excuse for this is very, very low. Or they're into their feelings too much. So I don't understand why this has nothing to do with nepotism. This is pure stupidity at its highest level, and catering to an egotistical, self-absorbed person to the detriment of your team winning. And then the excuse after that is, well, they were going to win anyway, so might as well have the fairy tale. That, my friend, is the official stamp of loser. People who talk like that are losers, and likely are people that are going to exist. They're going to continue to work for people they don't want to work for and cry about it after each day, and then wake up in the morning, eat shit, and go back and still do it. So be careful of those people. Be careful and stop worshiping people in general. We love Kobe. We love Shaq. We love Pau. We love AD. We love LeBron. We love these players because they're playing for our team. But I don't have a shrine of Kobe Bryant.
They're human just like us, Joe.
I don't have a shrine. I don't have a single Troy Polamalu poster or anything. And I love that man. Like, I never met him, although I have friends who know him and confirm everything that we've seen. I don't have anything. Guys, these are regular people off that court and off that field. Yet,
I mean, even our fan base is kind of irritable at this time, Joe. Even before the game, or when the game had already started. I won't say who it was in the chat on playback, but I was driving. I indicated at the front of the chat. I said I'm on my way home. Henry was hosting, and somebody didn't get their VIP right away, and they said, "Where the hell is Jerry?" And I'm like, "Wow, okay. I give you something for free. I didn't have to advertise it. Don't have to say it to you guys. But this is where we're at. This is where we're at with each other. This is where we're at with this guy. I mean, we're all mad about the Lakers. We're all very disturbed and very distraught about the Lakers. But when we start, expecting things like this, is it really worth it to go after people like that? And it's like, it's very entitled sometimes, and it just we are entitled as a fan base. I understand that winning 17 championships you can, but you guys sometimes have to step out of the box. One things I always did as a guy who was running department stores, etc., I always tried to take a step outside and tried to take a look at it from the consumer standpoint. And when you guys got to go ahead, as I know you're very hard on the Lakers. We're all very, very up on the Lakers, but sometimes you just got to take a step back and evaluate what the Lakers are really all about. How good was this team going into the season? How good is this team now? And are any small changes actually going to fix it to the point where it's going to get it to where you want it to be?
And at what cost would it have to be to even have a shot at doing a play-in, let's say? Do you get a Vucevic? Does he help you get to a play-in? Do you do a 3-4 team deal where you get someone like Levine and Vucevic, who can't play defense?
He scored 20 and 10, Joe, but can't play defense.
But he can't play defense. So now, imagine tonight's game if Vucevic was playing. He'd be scoring, the other team would be scoring. He'd be scoring, the other team would be scoring. This team already has very few talented players. It also has no heart, no nutsack, and no scrotum. Now, what else is left? Their pecker. Eventually, their pecker will be gone because once they get to that point where they're starting to get out of the playoff picture, it's going to get even worse. And that's when the pecker's gone. So they might as well just be an WNBA team at that point. They looked like a WNBA team playing an NBA team tonight. And that's another thing I would say to the team. You guys looked like a WNBA team tonight. I hope you guys are happy. You had no pride. Well, I shouldn't say that. WNBA players have pride. They play well within their scope. But what I mean by that is it's the talent. They look like a team that could not play in the NBA. That's the WNBA versus the NBA. And what's the retort? F you, Joe, you're mean. Does it make them play better? These guys aren't that kind of guys. These guys are the type of guys that get punched in the face and then run away. Every single one of them, including LeBron James. Just big old pussies. JJ may not be. I think he's got some fortitude, but he can't play. So
and he's got the desire to win. I will give you that, Joe. I just don't think his game management is there, that level of being able to make decisions on the fly, adjustments on the fly. I don't think that's there. He's a rookie, so I'm going to give him a little bit of slack on that. But his desire to win, his desire is very Jerry. Can I say this, Joe? It reminds me a little bit. It's Jerry West-esque as far as the desire to win and the feelings that he get if he's not winning. Now, it's not at that level as Jerry West because Jerry West couldn't even watch the games, as you and I both know and have heard the stories and actually seen it. But, you know, he has the will and the drive to win. It's up to him to go ahead and try and turn this thing around. And also on the fly, learn how to become a better coach during the game. Because again, you can have the preparation and the game plan all you want, but the game often flows and deviates quite often from what your game plan will go ahead and dictate. So you have to adjust on the fly. And, Eric Spoelstra tonight, Chris Finch on Monday night. And then we talked about last week when two championship coaches outcoached him in the second half. He's getting a lesson, Joe. And hopefully he could take these thumpings now and bring it to a place where he can understand what he's doing wrong and fix that going forward so that when we finally get a better GM in place who can acquire and get better players in a position to help them win, that JJ will also be able to coach them to a better record and a better chance for a championship going forward. But it's going to take a little while, Joe. It's not going to be overnight.
Well, I want to answer Robert's question.
Robert, right there again. Woohoo!
Yeah. So Robert says, do you think the Lakers getting blown out more often this season can be a good thing because it will force the Lakers to look themselves in the mirror and find real answers on how to get better? No, they can't get better. They don't have enough talent.
No, he's asking if it's going to, maybe create a situation where Genie, because maybe looks
when
at
I talk about talent, I'm talking about ownership and general manager. That includes them. They're not talented enough to make it work.
Okay.
Yeah,
recognize that.
It's a terribly run ship. You have a
M24 says a lot of question marks.
Yeah, you have a terrible owner and a general manager who general manages. He doesn't. His job isn't to really create a team that can compete. He is a pencil pusher and a fax sender and a employee workers' comp checker. That's what Rob is. He's not a basketball operations guy. I think that if I had to choose between three things, I would choose that there might be a possibility that Rob gets tired of this and resigns himself at the end of the year if this gets bad. So if they keep getting blown out and he's tired of being criticized everywhere he goes. He probably walks out, somebody spots him. I don't know. This guy might be living in a cave like a bat.
Actually, Chris Lardieri saw him once.
Yeah, if
Going
I'm
into a
sure he's
restaurant.
getting, LeBron got some crap the other night. Somebody was yelling at him and said something like, LeBron retorted with, "I won, you won," and he goes, "We want a real one."
Well,
Now, I don't believe that. I believe the 2020 title was real. Everybody played with the same rules. It's not their fault that the season flipped the way it did. You can only control what the rules are there for. So if you don't want to believe that this was real, then you might as well just go and go create your own reel at this point. I'm sick of this. You all act like this is the first time a strike or a lockout has occurred in the history of sports.
San Antonio
won one in a strike season. Miami won. I'm sorry. San Antonio won one in a lockout season in '99. The Heat won one in the lockout season of 2012. The Washington Redskins won a Super Bowl during a strike season. The New York Giants won a Super Bowl in 1987 during a strike season. The Dodgers won a World Series in 1981 during a strike season. So what are you going to do now? You're going to go around all over these sports and pick every one that didn't finish exactly 82, 162, and 16 at the time and say, well, what happened in game 15? That didn't count. It's like somebody always is picking. Oh, LeBron's championship in 2013 wasn't real because Ray Allen made a last-second shot. You have any idea how stupid that sounds? I've actually heard that. That is the dumbest, like choke-worthy commentary you could say. And you might just be trolling, and that's fine. You still deserve to be choked, even if you're trolling. Seriously. Brain activity is not existent because you want to just get under somebody's skin. Every title is legitimate except for one in the last however many years I've been watching sports. Because I wasn't around in the 60s and the 50s and the 40s. I don't know what the hell happened then. I don't know what happened in 1919 when the White Sox, Black Sox, whatever happened there. I keep hearing conflicting stories, and I'm not going to bother myself with it. But there's one title and a half that didn't count. And that was the 17 Houston Astros and the Boston Red Sox in 2018 because they were caught cheating when others weren't. Now what? Now, you can go back and also say, well, the Patriots cheated. They got caught. Okay. I'll let you talk about that one because it was confirmed that they did. That idiot Roger Goodell burned all the tapes, so we're never going to know what happened. Did Tom Brady cheat, deflating his balls? Maybe. Sure. But he kept winning.
You love to go ahead and accentuate the
He kept winning after he inflated them. So So now what? Okay, did it make a difference? I don't know. But you have an argument there. But LeBron has never cheated. The Lakers have never cheated to win their titles. The rules were what they were. The times were what they were. And they won it. And if you're not going to legitimize that, then you're not legitimate. You're a fool. You don't have no common sense argument there. Now, as far as the Lakers are concerned, getting back to that topic, between the three picks of LeBron doing us all a favor and retiring at the end of the year and Jeannie selling the team, Rob Pelinka quitting, Rob Pelinka's likely the highest probability of that happening, of him getting sick and tired of all this. I would take LeBron retiring and Rob retiring. I would have so much respect for them at the end of the year if they did that. I really would. Because I don't think Jeannie's going to sell this team anytime soon. We're going to have to sit here probably for a half decade at the very least and be miserable.
Magic Johnson, as you know, was ripping on the Lakers after the loss tonight. Of course, JJ in his press conference didn't have much to say outside of, yes, we did get embarrassed. They better find some heart, Joe. Again, in Atlanta, you're talking about the Portland game coming up. Just no excuses at this point. Atlanta is a sub 500 team. Portland's a sub 500 team. If you can't beat these teams, Joe, then really it's going to dictate that maybe you should start looking into moving on from AD and LeBron, moving on from those type of individuals that are just not getting it done. LeBron at 40 years old at the end of this month, he's looking every bit of it. Even when he has a game like tonight at 29 points, it just seemed like, okay, I was out proving myself that I'm not old, that I was answering to the criticism that happened over the past couple games, that I'm going to go ahead and do everything myself. And it looked like it, Joe, in the first quarter. It was like LeBron taking on all 5 players on the Heat roster at the same time. And it's not a recipe for success when he does that, Joe.
It's not a recipe for anyone to take over like that. This is a team game.
Yeah, it is.
Ray Allen hitting a 3-point shot. Robert Horry hitting a 3-point shot. Derek Fisher hitting a 0.4 shot. Steve Kerr hitting a game-winning shot. John Paxson hitting a game-winning shot. This is a team game. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal, they're not always making the big shot at the end. It's a team game. You have 5 guys on that court. You have to play team game. If you took Michael Jordan and Kobe and Shaq, put them on the court by themselves playing a 5-man team, they would lose 100-0. This is a team game. There's a lot that factors into this. And it's even worse in baseball. The best player on the team either pitches for about 6 innings if you're lucky, sometimes, if he's your best player, and he pitches only the 5th day. Or you have a everyday player who's only going to be able to put runs on the scoreboard once for every 9 at-bats. And only 4 times on the average, only 4 times he is available to make a difference in a 9-inning game. If you're playing tennis, if you're playing pickleball, even pickleball, you have a partner typically. But let's say you play by yourself, you play golf, you can obviously go after that particular person because that's the only thing going there. A swimmer, whatever.
Chris has a good question for us. 2 years in a row, the Lakers have found strength, momentum, whatever you want to say, in regards to them on a post All-Star game run, going on a run and saving their season to the point where they're at least able to get into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I already know the answer you're probably going to give, but do you see that happening again?
Nope.
Why not?
They have less talent than they had the last couple of years, and their mental game was a little bit stronger. This year, it's finally going to come to a head, and I don't believe there's any chance in hell that they're going to be able to improve the team during the deadline.
JY is asking you to clarify your bitch comment, I guess.
JY, this is a team of bitches even before tonight. They just put a stamp on it tonight.
Darren, okay. Darren saw a couple people putting a Ladidi.
By the way, I can't take credit for that. I want to thank Horace Grant for making that term very popular when describing the Detroit Pistons when they walked off the court before the game was over, when they had gotten swept by the Bulls. I can't take credit for that word. Straight bitches. Mm-hmm. Are they going to deny it? Did they have to lose like this tonight? No. If they had lost and played their asses off, they would be bitches.
Yeah.
But they have been known to do this. They have been known to quit, especially towards the end of games.
I have 24 says Rob P should expect Laker fans to hold a 1700 Salem's witch trial, like an Agatha all along recently. He should be in hiding. Yeah, remember last time 2 years ago, wasn't it? 2 seasons ago when
Mm.
he went into hiding for, we didn't see him for over a month. And we put out the Joe mask. He had the Rob Pelinka mask on and everything for a while. You go check out those episodes when we had it. Yeah, it wasn't just Halloween. We had it on because we were looking for him. We're thinking about putting him on his picture on a milk carton. Where is Rob Pelinka? Because
He's a little coward that goes away when things get bad, and then when things get good, he shows up again.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm in puzzle. I'm in complete bewilderment on how Kobe was ever associated with somebody like Rob Pelinka. That doesn't seem like a guy that I would think he would be tight with.
Darren's stating that AD is either quit or his foot is really bothering him. He has the plantar fasciitis, and I know it has been that will act up from time to time. But 3 of 14 and continual issues over the course of the past 2 weeks. Could it be the foot? Could the foot? Maybe here a little bit there, but overall, his poor play, you can't solely base it off of the plantar fasciitis.
Well, before he had the injury and after, he still misses those 4 or 5
Yeah.
footers on a regular basis. No, I think it's emotional. I think it's frustrating for him too. I would say he might be a wild card if he can get out of his skin a little bit at the end of the year and demand a trade. Maybe that might get things moving. I would have immense respect for him if he finally put his foot down for this and said, "Look, I think it's time I move on. I'd like to be traded." That would definitely make LeBron think twice about coming back. That would help. That would assist in helping this go another way.
At this rate,
But if Rob stays
mhm.
and they don't hire someone who is a player evaluator, someone who knows how to draft, develop, and contract the right players, it doesn't matter. Rob can't stay. And Jeannie, there's a small chance she could maybe just stay out of it. There's plenty of absentee owners, but I don't know. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if she can handle constructive criticism. That's why she got rid of everybody that could be a threat to telling her that she's an idiot. Without telling her she's an idiot, just innuendos.
Of course. What was it? Darren says he should demand a trade. I agree. The old man is set in his ways. Chris says, just curious, what would have been a LeBron friendly that could have helped us sign someone? Would we have signed anyone anyways? Again, I still think he should have come in half his salary. He should have done 25.
He would have done us a solid if he retired, because they wouldn't have had to have drafted Bronny. They would have focused more on enhancing the team for AD. LeBron honestly should have retired last year. I would have, or actually, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. If I was the owner, I would have sat down with LeBron and I would have told him, we want to go a different direction. Where do you want to go to play with your son? What team out there with your lackeys? What team have you guys talked to that we can trade you to? And we'll make it work. I don't mind a team taking care of a star if you can without the detriment of winning. I get it. Believe me. So I would have sat him down and I would have sat with Rich Paul and Maverick Carter or whoever the hell they have there. I would have said, we have to go a different direction, guys. Just like Jerry Buss told Shaq, big guy, I can't pay you $30 million a year. I have to trade you. And that's what I would have done. And I would have gotten a leg up on trying to get this thing back to championship status, because if you showed any kind of initiative and any kind of knowledge of what you wanted to do, any kind of direction, because you didn't have that for a while when Jim Dickweed was running things. That's why you fired his ass and took over again, right? Yep. You have to bring in Magic to give you credibility, which is what everybody does. You bring Magic Johnson in, your credibility shoots up. I do believe that bringing in Magic when she did, that's probably the smartest thing she ever did, but it wasn't something that she did because she was being tactical. She did it because she trusted Magic and she knew that Magic wouldn't be one of those people at that time to criticize her. But we
Well,
also
I'll tell you.
we also
Well,
what happened 2 years later.
Yeah, but then Magic again. Magic is not a good talent evaluator.
No. See, that's the thing is Magic.
But
His
as a
job is not.
liaison, as a face for the
Yeah, he's a
organization,
face
yeah.
and he's a supporter. He is not a executive to make sound basketball decisions. That has to go to people that are focused on the tasks, not focused on being Magic Johnson. No one cares about Rob Pelinka. People care about Magic Johnson. When they see Magic Johnson, they want to see Magic Johnson. When you see Rob Pelinka, you don't know who the hell he is. He's Rob Pelinka. He's a nobody. He's Kobe's friend. And no one cares about Jeannie Buss either. People care about Magic Johnson. People admire him. This is a guy that opened up businesses in the inner city. I was there for one of them, one of the openings here in San Diego. He does what he says when it comes to him being the liaison, the face of progress, the face of positivity. This business of sports is very, very limited in positivity. It's a lot of negative. It's a lot of negative that you have to deal with. And he's not going to be around that if he's around a bunch of numbskulls like he was for a few years there.
A big shout out to Legend 350. Legend is going to actually be at the Atlanta game on Friday. So looking forward to hearing what he has to say about his live experience with the team. So definitely looking forward to hearing about that. Again, the Lakers. The comments on our email sometimes, Joe, is really funny. Yeah, it's JJ. He's embarrassed. Okay, I got to quote him. I don't know if you quoted it. I'm embarrassed. We're all embarrassed. I own this, but going to need some ownership on the court as well. So he's saying he's not leaving himself out to dry as he's giving himself just as much blame as he's giving the players. But it is
a subscriber.
Thank you for subscribing. Truly appreciate it, Desert R. But Joe, as we've always said, ultimately it's an organizational win and it's organizational loss. And right now, it's an organization as a whole to blame.
We had talked about leadership on this team, and JJ Redick just reiterated it.
Mhm.
We're not even in the locker room. We're not even in the media room. And we could see it. Imagine if we were in the locker room. Imagine if we had a say. What would you say?
Joe,
What would you say to Jeannie, Rob, and LeBron in the same room? Who would have the nutsack to talk freely? It's easy saying it on a show with only a couple thousand subs. I know that. I know it's probably easy for us to say that. But
if we were 20,000, you'd probably still say it too.
well,
Word
true,
for word.
but people don't know that. For all people know here, they think I'm a poser. They don't know that.
Yeah, but we love you, poser, anyways.
That's fine. I agree. I appreciate that. But the point is that I can't prove it. And when you can't prove it, you're going to go off of probably your own self instinct and say, yeah, this guy's he wouldn't say shit. And then some people would believe that I would say it because they've been here long enough. But more often than not, people are going to be like, who the hell's this guy? So what that he predicted that they were going to be this? So what? Who is he? He never played in the NBA. He never worked for ESPN. He never did this. He never did that. So you go your whole life denying what's real because some guy didn't work somewhere or didn't play somewhere. At the end of the day, folks, it's not astrophysics. It's not rocket science. It's freaking basketball. Okay? I've played thousands of basketball games. Thousands in my life. Yeah, not at the level of college and NBA, but I know what basketball is. I know how a pick and roll works. I even know how the triangle works. I even purposely played it to see. It's a pain in the ass, by the way, because you have to think too much when you first start doing it. And that's not just me. NBA players had problems with it because you have to continue to create that triangle all over the court, and it's got to be instinct. At some point, everyone learns it. But then there are some people that can that have a skill set that it makes sense for and some that don't. But beyond all that, JJ Redick tonight just put a stamp on what we've been saying. Leadership is lacking. And it's really always been there. LeBron, and I'm not picking on LeBron, just LeBron. I had this discussion with Steeler fans about Big Ben for years. Everyone thought I was a Big Ben hater. They kept telling me this guy was a leader. I'm like, he's not a leader. Where the fuck did you? I've watched every Ben Roethlisberger game in his career, every single one. He was never the leader. You're just saying that because he's the quarterback. Phenomenal quarterback. Absolutely phenomenal. But he was never a leader. He was a leader by example. You know who the leader was on the Lakers? I'm sorry, on the Steelers back then? You had guys like Jerome Bettis. You had guys like Hines Ward. You had guys like James Ferrier. Even Troy Polamalu wasn't technically a leader, but probably one of the greatest leader by examples you'll ever watch. Leader sometimes isn't always the star, but man, it sure helps when it is the star. Even Kobe said he wasn't necessarily the right leader too in a lot of instances. He was the kind of strict father, and then D Fish was kind of like the nice father. That's how they balanced that out. Just like a family. The nice dad and the mean mom, or the mean mom and the nice dad, right?
Yeah.
Same situation, there's balance. There is really no balance here. AD is not very demonstrative. He doesn't get into your face. Get your ass over there and do that. If anybody's the leader, it's JJ Redick. He's got that leadership ability. But the problem is he doesn't have enough ammo on this team. It doesn't matter if he screams and yells and criticizes. These guys are not, half the team is not capable of playing correctly. And you cannot have a man who has played probably technically 26 to 27 NBA seasons when you factor in his playoff appearances and preseason appearances in his career and expect him to drop 39 minutes with a 25, 9, and 8 every game. And it's not just the numbers, it's the productiveness of those numbers. There's a huge difference between 25, 9, and 8, LeBron in 2016 versus LeBron in 2024. Huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have AD, who doesn't show up against any center that has any ability lately. Bam Adebayo was getting to every loose ball, dunking all over the place. He might as well have been playing. Lakers might have well have been playing 4-on-5 tonight. Really, they might as well have sat at this point.
But that's the thing, though. LeBron tonight, Joe. He heard the criticism over the past two games. He heard the 0 for 23 and what all that. As far as his 3-point shooting is concerned, and how bad he's played and how old he's looked. He heard that because he came out like a house of fire. But it soon became, as what I was watching, I know I wasn't on directly as far as with you guys on the stage, but I was watching virtually the entire game as best I could. And it became, Joe, one of those situations, again, what I've talked about before. LeBron, he gets all mad when either somebody talks smack about him, somebody talks smack to him, or he gets a bad call from the refs. He wants to do it all himself. And he becomes focused, and he's going to try and do everything himself. So he tries to, do everything he can to show people, hey, I'm not an old man. I'm not going out to pasture. I'm not going to be that guy that everybody starts saying, he's washed. I have still got game left. And he's trying to prove that to everyone. But the problem is he had 4 other people that are just standing around there doing nothing because they're not facilitating a proper offense. We talked about Dalton tonight. If he didn't get, his touch, if he didn't score in the very few touches he got, he wasn't getting jack. And D'Angelo was the only one seemingly that was working with LeBron. And while it worked in the first quarter, his game went off a deep end because we saw what happened with AD. I don't know if AD was pissed or whether it was a plantar fasciitis or what. It's a problem, Joe, because this team doesn't play like a team when it needs to.
And it's a lot of things. We're pinpointing certain instances and certain mentalities and certain leadership, it's a stew. It's a giant pot of stew. You got potatoes in there, you got the sauce, you got big thick meat. Like, what is this meal? Is it carbs? Is it protein? Is it high in sodium? Like, it's all of it. It's all of it. You don't know. We're pinpointing problems, but it's really everything. It's really everything in this. The only problem is it doesn't taste good like stew. It's a big pile of shit. It's what's left after you eat the stew when you hit the can. And there's the frustration is there's no positive ending here without drastic changes. And the drastic changes have to be very drastic to the point where you have to rely on your only sole prime player having to go, the face of the franchise having to retire, and ownership that doesn't have a future in today's business sports team landscape. It's the reality of that. Jeannie cannot keep up with what's coming. She can't even keep up with it now. And it's still mind-boggling to me that someone like Jeannie would agree to this albatross of a CBA. She pretty much put the stake in her heart by agreeing to this, and all of them did. Oh, well, maybe they make more money. At what point is it enough? At what point is enough money? How much money? How much more money do you need? Really? I was talking about this with Jeff last night on his show, talking about Juan Soto. There's a lot of talks now. Apparently, the Dodgers offered Juan Soto a certain amount of money, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, so let's just say another team comes in and gives him another $100 million. Because that seems to be the rhetoric. He's going to go to the highest bidder. But then I started asking, I go, really, let's talk about this. At what point during a baseball season are you really thinking about spending another $100 million when you already have $600? What are you doing with that extra money? Are you saving a country? Okay, sure. Then that would make sense. But we all know that's not going to happen. What are you going to do with that extra $100 million? My pitch would have been, I'm in there. Let's say the Dodgers, my team, offered him $600 million. And we all know that Mr. Cohen over there in New York is going to go, no, I ain't losing this one. I got money. I got more money than any of these motherfuckers here. I'll give you $700 million. Right away, our jaded, cynical mind is going to go, he's taking $700. But then let's hold the thing here a little bit. I'm going to make one last pitch to you, Mr. Soto. If you come for $600 million instead of $700 million in New York for the Mets, which is always going to be the Jets of baseball, to the Giants of the Yankees, do you really think that extra $100 million that you're never really going to spend? Really? I mean, I guess you could if you're really stupid, which I don't think Juan is stupid. Or do you want to be a part of something that will be beyond anything likely in the history of your league? Imagine not being a part of that because of what? An extra $100 million? For what? You already have 600. How much is enough? And you take that and you put it into this current situation with the Lakers. And they don't want to spend over the apron. And they don't want to spend over here. And she's taking out loans that freaking small businesses are barely hanging on so they can get. This bitch is taking money from that and then having to give it back when she gets caught. There's a lot of stuff that we've continued to report here that have happened that have created this disdain with this club towards Jeannie, towards Rob, towards LeBron. It's mixed in with some good things because Jeannie is Dr. Buss's daughter, and I do feel bad speaking badly of her because, you know, even though he's passed away, it's a disrespect to him. But what about the respect to those people, those small business people that she disrespected? What about how she's disrespecting her fan base by running the team the way she's running? And what about Rob hiding like a coward when things don't go well? And then LeBron virtually putting a stake in the organization's heart by basically conning them or making them do something that's completely exclusive from winning so that he can have his little Disney moment with his own shit.
Well, again, a lot of opinions right now. It is a great crowd, so I want to thank everybody for being here. Sharon, thank you. New member. Truly appreciate you joining us. She says Curry, KD, and Chris Paul should also retire. I know she did mention LeBron earlier, but it's the fact that, maybe it's a time to give the younger guys a chance. I know that Ray mentioned something as well about letting the younger guys play. I mean, connect. Christie is still in the right circles, thought of highly. I don't know. I don't think as high of him as others. I think he's at best a rotation player. That's probably going to be like a 7th, 8th guy, probably when he pans on out. But maybe the Lakers should move into getting into another phase of their season. But they can't really do that, Joe, because they can't tank unless they trade AD, because they don't have their first round draft picks. So that's the dilemma. You can't tank, but you don't have enough to succeed.
Yeah, Sharon B, welcome to the show. I'll break down the Curry, KD, Chris Paul thing. You might have a point with Chris Paul, but I think he might be playing for the love of the game. And he is somewhat close to some other records that, he's not going to own the records, but he would be, I think, second in steals and second in assists if he continues to play the next year or two. That might mean something to him. I don't know. I don't know that for sure.
But with KD and Curry,
KD and Curry are still viable, Sharon. Those
they're
guys, yeah.
Well, let me say this, Joe. KD, when he's in there, the Suns are a winning team. When he's not in there, they're a losing team. It's simple as that. But the problem is, both him and Curry are not able to get in there because they're getting injured. Curry at least is playing almost 30 minutes a game. He is being played less, which is good, but he's having knee issues, and KD has had 2 separate injuries already this season.
Now, here's the thing. Here's the difference between the NBA and the NFL. In the NFL, you can have a veteran player take less money and continue to be the team's legacy player and bring in young guys because you're capable of bringing young guys in and having them win. For example, I'll give you an example of Jerome Bettis. Jerome Bettis took a back seat the last few years of his career, and this guy was the Steelers icon for the late 90s and early 2000s. Yet he took a back seat and still was relevant and let the young guys take over and guided him, and he helped guide himself too to a championship before he retired. For KD and Curry to be that kind of player, they would have to take a considerable discount or pay cut. And it's not known. That doesn't happen in the NBA. When you look at the end of a lot of these guys' careers, I think maybe the only one that I saw take really less, like a really considerable pay cut and play for a few more years was Dirk Nowitzki. And that guy is different than all these guys. That's the anomaly. He's the anomaly. You can say Tim Duncan to an extent too. Curry isn't going to take less than $60 million a year. Durant's not going to take less than 60. If the culture changes though down the road, if those guys take less money, then there's a better chance that they can equip the team with better players, and therefore they can be effective and not have to worry about being injured, 20 games out of the year and continue to win. But it's very rare in basketball for that to happen.
BD has talked about the shooting terrible and turnovers. Turnovers has always been an issue with Curry, but it does look like Father Time is starting to catch up to both him, KD with the constant injuries, Chris Paul already, and then of course LeBron. Let's just call it like we
Being
see it.
number ones, yes. KD would probably be better as a 3 right now. And Curry could get away with being a number 2 if you have a really, really good one. So when I was discussing the Giannis situation, if Giannis demanded the trade to get out of Milwaukee, I always felt like the Golden State Warriors was going to be the spot he'd go to. If Giannis went to Golden State, there might be a chance Curry could play number 2 there and have it work. But he probably would be even better as a 3. But that would take a lot of transactions, a lot of luck for that to happen. And Curry would be one of those guys that probably would do it. Curry doesn't get enough credit for being a team guy. He's the greatest shooter of all time and a champion and MVP. But to me, his greatest asset by far, other than of course his shooting, is the fact that his ego never got in the way of any kind of KD issue. Even the Draymond thing, he never really blew up on that. Maybe he did behind the scenes, which was, understandable if that's how he played it. He's the Derek Jeter to me of the NBA. I mean, he's the Derek Jeter of the NBA in a lot of ways. He's a better player in his sport than Derek Jeter, but he has that aura of a Derek Jeter, the leadership, just the positiveness of who he is and how he conducted himself. And unfortunately for everyone, they're done with being number ones. That I can agree with. None of those 3 are ever going to be a number 1 on a championship team. And that's Curry got one last good one in at the 2020, and thank God he did, because if he hadn't, we'd be sitting at the Celtics at 19 instead of 18.
Well, Search and I are I guess our theory is still being solidified even more. A lot of people here tonight truly appreciate it. You hear more in losses and wins, exact opposite of what Doobie likes to say on the show, but we truly appreciate you joining us, whether you're here for wins or for losses. So we're here with you here at the Lakers Fast Break. It is the Nightcap with Joe Soro. Henri McCracken is there. What's up, Henri?
Yeah, I spelled it wrong. But good.
I wasn't sure how much you noticed, but we're 2 hours in.
I'll fix it.
Much appreciated, BD on Twitch. Absolutely cannot thank you enough for stopping by. Also, big shout out to our Facebook watchers as well. Big shout out to Aussie Henry H for manning the stage on that. Xbox, I saw as well. Laker Nick was on there along with Joe Soro. I was watching on the stage, so truly appreciate you guys for anchoring the playback. We'll see what happens on Friday. But we'll also have another show tomorrow night as well. So definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys are. 7 Grand said, how do we get smoked tonight?
Because they sucked ass and they quit.
Yeah.
Again, thank you for being here for the Nightcap. I enjoyed my wine a little bit tonight as well. The good Merlot from one of my clients. We will be back tomorrow, and obviously I'll be kind of navigating Friday. Unfortunately, I have a lot of traveling going on Friday, personal type stuff that's going to be happening. And so I'll try to see if I can make it back in time, or just kind of float virtually somewhere and comment. But
it's so funny because a lot of people will say, where's Joe? Where's Joe? Where's Joe? It's like, he said it on Wednesday.
It's okay. Maybe they didn't hear it, but I always try to chime in at some point, even if I'm not able to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But for those of you who do want to get to me directly, of course, you can get me directly on Facebook as Johnny Blade. And my profile pic is Mr. Statue of Freedom. That is Freddie Freedom. You'll be able to know that's me. If you want to get at me on Instagram, I'm SinBlades_, and SinBlades, it's spelled like this, SinBlades_turf. If you want to get at me with X, that one's a little easier. It's Joe Soro, LFB, and you know what LFB means. You can direct connect me. You can post on the wall, whatever it is that you do. I don't do a lot of activity on X because it's a rotting cesspool of trash, but I know a lot of you have it, and I always want any kind of way to speak to you. If that's easier for you, I will speak to you. Until tomorrow, until Friday, until hopefully the next win, I want to thank you all again for being here. Have a good night, have a good evening, have a good morning wherever you are. And until next time, I'll see you next time.